Wetware Media presents The User's Guide to the Human Mind, Why Our Brains Make Us Unhappy, Anxious, and Neurotic, and What We Can Do About It. Written by Shawn T. Smith, Doctor of Psychology. Narrated by Stephen Aulridge, Jr. Copyright 2011 by Shawn T. Smith. This recording is copyright 2015 by Wetware Media. For more information and for other great audio titles, please visit wetwaremedia.com. That's WETWAREMEDIA.com. A note to the listener. This audiobook contains a number of helpful exercises. You may want to keep a small notebook and pen handy for the exercises. You may also want to pause the recording at certain points to give yourself time to complete the exercises. Introduction. I'm thinking of a vivid memory from childhood. It is one of those flashbulb moments that the mind occasionally casts into our awareness. It happened at closing time at my family's truck stop as I was washing glasses behind the bar. I had an unusual childhood. That's when I noticed Chuck, one of our regular customers. Chuck was one of my favorites. Straw cowboy hat, goose down vest, and a perpetual grin. He was gregarious, witty, good-natured, and an always welcomed fixture at the bar. Chuck also seemed troubled in a way that eluded my 10-year-old mind. He drank heavily, and despite his affability, people knew little about him. He was never at a loss for good conversation, but he rarely discussed himself. He managed to keep the spotlight on others. Someone once joked that he must have been a spy because he was a man of such mystery. In hindsight, he had the bearing of a man who hoped to avoid an encounter with his own regrets, and so he dodged and weaved using humor, camaraderie, and alcohol. Had you asked me at the time, I might have said that he seemed like a happy guy, but he was probably lonely. On the evening that I recall, he sat in contrast to his usual manner. He was alone, relaxed, and peaceful. His constant, mischievous grin was replaced by the slightest and most genuine smile. Before him sat a nearly empty glass of beer. It was the last in a chain of empty glasses, and I couldn't decide whether to disturb him so that I could wash it. Many years have passed since that evening, though I've never forgotten Chuck. I have, however, graduated from junior barkeep's assistant to clinical psychologist. Now I wonder what caused Chuck to drink so much and to avoid revealing who he really was. I wonder what was going through his mind and what his mind was telling him about himself and his life. I'll never know what Chuck's mind was telling him, but I do know what my mind tells me, and I don't always like it. And if you're anything like me, you may wonder how you can control your mind. If it's like mine, it never shuts up. In some ways, a mind is easy to control. I can choose to think about what I want when I want. Right now, I'm choosing to think about donuts because I like donuts. In other ways, minds are downright willful and insolent. They think their own thoughts without permission and usually with impeccably bad timing. Take my last attempt at public speaking. As I stood in front of a crowd ready to begin my presentation, my mind gave me these thoughts. You're going to forget what to say. You need a haircut. Is your fly open? I didn't want those thoughts. They weren't helpful. Thanks a lot, mind. Sometimes minds go well beyond these jabs at self-confidence. They can convince us that we are damaged and unlovable, or that we cannot do something within our power, or that the world is more dangerous than it really is. They can saddle us with such powerful anxiety and depression that we believe we cannot do as we wish. Our minds can be that persuasive. Naturally, we try to control and silence our minds so that we can get on with our lives. I may tell myself, my next speech will be a smashing success, if only I can force my mind to relax and stop thinking. Sometimes it works. Other times our minds overpower us.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?